John, here we are, baby. What's happening?
I am in a place in my life I don't even recognize. And
This is your dream. We got a sports podcast. Look behind me. Look at my shirt. We got a sports podcast. This is what you've been dreaming of your whole life.
33 years of misery came crashing down in Kansas City, Missouri a few days ago when my beloved Cincinnati Bengals won the AFC title, Jeff. And I got to say, never my wildest dreams that I think I would be this happy for the Bengals, or after the Bengals qualified for the Super Bowl. It's beyond my wildest dreams how happy this entire playoffs has made me.
Is there a quick trigger thought in your head that at any moment that you feel like pathetic for it? You know what I mean? Like, wow, I'm 45 years old. I'm a father. I've got so much perspective on life and work and what really matters. But something like this could make you this elated. It doesn't kind of feel pathetic? I mean, the only reason I'm asking you that is because obviously, I've got Eddie George and Jerry Rice back here. So you know my fanhood, my whole life. Well, I've experienced it, the top, and I have felt that same way. Like, how is this affecting me? How is this putting me in this much of a happy place?
Well, I would be embarrassed, maybe, except that the communal celebration that's going on amongst Cincinnatians and Bengals fans around the country and nation, and I know you're not as close to it as I am, but men, women, and children of all ages from around the world are rejoicing just as much as I am about the Bengals.
Yeah.
So I'm joined, including the 4 ladies in my own household who used to disdain that I would just blow off 4 hours every Sunday to watch this crappy team. They're in it with me. They're in the they're in the foxhole with me, sweating it out.
They sense it too of what it means. And you can't, I've said this to you over the past week when we've been talking, you're never gonna be able to replicate this again.
No.
There's nothing like the first time. I know there's been another time, but there's nothing like the first time. And that's what this is. And not only that, it's a Cinderella story for now, but looking back on this, at least what I think, 5, 6, 8, 10 years from now, this is going to be a Joe Burrow regular type of thing where they're going to be competing for a Super Bowl. Now, listen, we've both been a part of things where you get to it and you're like, oh, well, this is going to be the norm. And all of a sudden 15 years pass and it doesn't happen again. And I understand that. So you don't get greedy with it. We're old enough to learn from that. But at the same time, you can't ever replicate what's going on right now. So obviously you're listening to the podcast now, not typically just a sports central podcast, but this is one that we really want to dive into kind of what's happening because it's on multi levels. It's not just the Cincinnati Bengals. It's not what you're feeling. It's think about the whole weekend in the divisional round of what it's doing to the country and this pull that it has on our country and people.
Yeah. It is shocking how unifying football, both pro and college, has been for the country. And maybe it's because of how divided we've been over the last few years, especially with COVID and all the controversies around that. And people are at odds with each other. But I got to tell you, what I've realized here in the last few months through the end of college football and now the NFL playoffs is all Americans love football. It's something that we can all get behind and enjoy together. And that's a damn great thing because I got to say right now, there's not a lot out there that brings us together.
No, there's not. And you touched on it when you just said like your family. Like, I love the fact that it's so strange to me. I was this Ohio State graduate. Ohio State's a very just football centric community. Columbus is nuts about the Buckeyes and everything. And my favorite part is what you touched on earlier. And I don't mean to be sexist or anything, but typically wives and women and stuff, they don't put into it what we do.
No.
Typically. Having said that, I don't know if it's just our happiness or the years that they put in it too, but I love when, like you said, everybody gets into it. I mean, it's just a thing that brings families together. It brings friends together. It brings communities together. What the Cincinnati what the city of Cincinnati is experiencing right now, you wish you could replicate that across the whole country. For any way you could, just for the feeling of togetherness and happiness and all those things. And it's a stupid football team with a bunch of people, and that's all it is. It's fascinating entertainment.
It is. It's a reality show is what it is. It's a bunch of people just moving around on a field, and we love it. I mean, so the city of Cincinnati has already canceled schools, blah, blah, blah. Here's where I'm interested in your take, because you have the opposite, unfortunately, for me over the years, the opposite history. I mean, you're a fan of Ohio State, who no matter who's coaching, who's playing, they're in the top 5 every year. They're competing for the national title every year, and they've won in your lifetime. Was it 2 national titles? Right?
2.
2.
It's not that many. I'm pretty fucking old.
I know, and you're pissed.
Yeah.
Now we're going crazy about the Bengals. They're in the Super Bowl. For all we know, they'll get beat 50-0. I mean, it's possible.
Yeah, who knows?
And they have never won a Super Bowl. So for an Ohio State fan, to get to the national title is just table stakes. I mean, that's what you expect. If you lose, I mean, it's a problem.
Yeah.
And then the second part is, of course, looking at your Jerry Rice jersey. You at one point, the Niners were the preeminent franchise in pro football. They won 4 trophies in the 80s, 4 Lombardi trophies, and then 1 in the 90s. Right? I've lost
5.
track.
Yeah.
So they've won 5 Lombardi trophies. So what's it been like being in that type of company? I mean, I'm just happy to be here after.
Honest to God, it's really no different. Honest to God, I mean, if you really want to talk about something, I sent you that text the other day. The fun thing about it's such a long story. People that know me, or if anyone's listening to this podcast, like, what's this Ohio guy talking about? Was he just a fanhood of the 49ers?
Yeah.
Long back history there.
Right.
With the owner of the San Francisco 49ers is from Youngstown, Ohio, for people that are listening that don't know that. Very tight family ties. You got your dad and him playing Little League football together. It's a whole neighborhood and community thing. What's cool about it as the years go on is that I'm still connected to all those people during the games and during the season, where we're texting during the week and different chains of different people, pockets of the neighborhood, all these people from like Youngstown, Ohio. And you're talking about that, but I've really only witnessed the one in 95 was great because I was old enough, and the one against the Bengals in 89, I'm a 10-year-old kid and I loved it and all those things. But to be honest, 5 NFC championships and 2 Super Bowls in the past 10 seasons with no wins.
Yeah, I didn't realize it had been that much.
I was crushed on Sunday night. One, because I'm so tightly intertwined with yourself as a lifelong Bengals fan, the best Bengals fan I know, but there's a whole other group of Bengals fans that I know, and how great that would have been. So I start to think about that. And now I'll get back to the point where it's incredible of what a team can do to your own life or to your own city, your own community, your own family, where these next 2 weeks, it's sad to say, but a lot of your thinking through the day, and I know how you're feeling. You go to bed at night, you're thinking, what if? You wake up in the morning and you're starting to have visions like it, in your heart, it doesn't mean a fucking thing in the grand scheme of things.
Right.
You know that, and you accept that, and you understand that. But at the same time, you start to paint these scenarios and you're here, and it's like, well, God damn it. If we lose now, this sucks.
Yeah.
And then you start to think of things like, but what if they win? Like you will, you'll be on FaceTime with your dad, and you'll be, how long have you been a season ticket holder?
I mean, it's so 25 years. It's
25 years as the Bengals season ticket holders. They haven't won a playoff game in 31 years. So we haven't seen anything that good. Okay. No. A couple of wins over the Steelers, rivals here and there. But other than that, so then you start to get yourself caught up in, okay, this can happen. And what will it mean when it does happen? Like, fuck, I mean, next Christmas is set. I mean, that's easy. Frame Joe Burrow jersey. You got all the gifts. You don't got to worry about like different gifts and different things. Like you're set there, but it just means a moment in your life that you can never do again. And that means something. It's cool.
It is. It's the larger point we're trying to make here is sports as a unifier, and especially football this year after a year where we're not allowed to be together. Think about the college football season. I mean, the stadiums were absolutely jammed.
Oh, yeah.
And, I went to the Big Ten championship. It was shoulder to shoulder. I think the Michigan-Ohio State game, there was no tickets obviously available for that. Look at some of the facts and figures are fascinating. Of the top 100 television shows in 2021, 75 were football games, college or pro.
Right.
75.
Mostly pro, yeah.
Mostly pro.
Yeah.
75. The AFC and NFC championship games this past weekend, each one drew almost 50 million viewers.
Yeah.
Now, that doesn't 50 million. Let's put that in context. There's 370 Americans, probably 100 million are kids under the age of 8.
Right.
So you're talking about 1 every 4 or 5 adults with their eyeballs on not the Super Bowl, the Final Four.
Yeah.
It's insane.
It really is.
And for teams that were for Cincinnati Bengals, it wasn't the Jets. It wasn't a New York. There were no New Yorks. There were no Chicagos. There wasn't LA.
LA was there.
Yeah, but 2 Midwestern teams in the AFC. So it's staggering. And of course, baseball, hockey, basketball, not even close.
And by the way, I don't think it would have mattered. I mean, Buffalo and Cincinnati, would have been the same thing. I mean, who doesn't want to see that? It's something that, like I said earlier, and I'll go back to it, the way you're feeling when we're talking about the next 2 weeks, 10 days, whatever it is, to have that, just kind of like you alluded to it today. You're working, you're going through your family routine, and it's like sometimes you're like, well, you know what? Just whatever. Fucking the Bengals play in 10 days, and they've got a chance to win the Super Bowl. And you know what? For these next 10 days, of course, I'm going to be a father and a husband in my work, but I'm really thinking about this quite a bit. And then for the rest of America, they're just tuned into a Super Bowl because it's a family get together and a community get together. But that way you're feeling, or the way the community of Cincinnati is feeling, it's not the same in Los Angeles for the Rams. I mean,
right. Los
Angeles is a whole different, type of animal.
Universe.
But yeah, if Buffalo were to be there, or if, or even when Tampa Bay did it, although they're winning a bunch of championships in different sports right now. But if it's so powerful of a thing, that wouldn't it be so great if everyone, how happy would our country be if like it alternated every other year where these cities got to experience what Cincinnati's getting to experience. You know what I mean? Like that is how powerful the pull, like gravitational pull, I'm saying, not POOL, like pull of this means to our country. It's one of the only things that, like you said, unifies us. I find that fascinating.
And one thing I'm been blown away by, and going back to the Bengals' first playoff game, that ended the 31-year streak. I mean, the amount of text messages that I got from people I hadn't heard from in 20 or 30 years, congratulating me. I mean, they really felt bad for me. I didn't realize that. I mean, I didn't care too much. I was like, well, it's just a sport. But I mean, and then I would go to basketball games or walk around school, people giving me fist bumps. Hey, congratulations on the Bengals. Like I played in the game.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, they were so happy for me. They're back slapping me.
I love that you brought this up.
It's crazy. Because I don't think I got this much attention when I had became a father.
No, no one cares. Because they know it didn't mean as much.
My kids actually think that, by the way.
No, I'm glad you touched on that, because I got a pet peeve with that. If it's somebody that is, I don't know how to say it, someone I don't talk to all the time, super tight with or anything, and Niners, congrats. Like, thanks, man, or whatever, because I'm just not going to be a prick.
Yeah.
When people close to me say whatever, I'm like, I don't know what that means. And if I've never said that to you. I've never said it to anyone else. And as a matter of fact, same type of text, Shane, the bunch of Bengal fans, one of the other guys, when they won the first one, maybe not the Raiders one, because that was expected. They were going to kill them. I think it was the second game against the Chiefs. And they said, oh yeah, congrats. He writes back, thank you. And I just sent off like, what the fuck did you do? What congrats for what? Did you pass a test? Did you kick the ball? Were you part of the game plan? I hate that amongst fans. Congrats, man.
You know what? I'll argue that you as well.
I say I'm happy for you.
Yeah, congrats. I mean,
congrats.
You're going to the games. You've put a lot of emotion into the Ohio State Buckeyes, probably more than anyone I know. And me the same. I mean, I actually physically, spent money and what?
Sorry.
And my broken finger. I'll leave that out of the frame from now. I'm sure it's disgusting to people.
And for the record, your last dog's name was named what?
Boomer.
Esiason. Okay, go on.
Well, his name wasn't Boomer Esiason. It was just Boomer, but whatever. But I physically, with my dad, and that's a whole nother podcast, the bonding and how great that's been.
Oh,
we physically, we've spent money, we've poured our heart and soul and money and time into this woebegone franchise, and maybe I am due to some congratulations for finally getting some return on the investment. And I would say the same for you. I mean,
I know it just feels weird. Like, I don't know.
It is.
I never know how to accept when the 49ers win a game like that. And I get a bunch of text messages from different fans that know I've been a lifelong 49er fans and everything that's behind it that say, congratulations, great game. I'm like, I'm looking around for like wristbands and like, am I sweating? Am I bleeding?
You had a hell of a game.
What? Yeah, great job,
you pulled them through.
You sat on the couch and fucking drank a fifth of vodka while you screamed at the TV.
Yeah. I mean, the amount of time that we've wasted on these teams, I mean, and I've watched all 17 regular season games and now 3 playoff games. I mean, that's like 2 consecutive weeks of work that I've poured into watching. So maybe people know that I'm wasting so much time that they finally feel like it's been worth my time.
Yeah. Like, should I have sent you a card? Like in the mail, John, congrats. Like,
you know what?
A bottle of wine and balloons. Like, way to go.
Can you put some balloons around my mailbox, orange and black?
Yeah,
stripes?
orange and black. You live it, yeah.
So but the city of Cincinnati, is going through something that, and I guess I'll ask you this question. It's going through something that has not gone through in a whole generation of people. Think about 31 years. Cool. That's a half of a generation, or maybe a full generation of people that have never experienced this. So it's very unique for Cincinnati. And I'm fascinated by the cities or the fan bases of teams, and they just take it for granted because they've had so much success. You don't appear to be that as far as the 49ers are concerned, but I do think like Ohio State fans are just like, if it's not a 50-point blowout in the national championship, the season's a failure, and don't talk to me.
No, it's no, man. I if you want to be real, I mean, I don't think that way at all. I mean, Ohio State is obviously a premier dominant college football team, and the last 20 years have been great. I always, we can have a whole other podcast and conversation about my history of college football, that I think everything changed in 2006. I think we've talked about it before. Before that time, there was no SEC and dominance of conferences. It was just, there was blue bloods and there was powerhouses, and there was a 1 versus 2 matchup to the 2 best teams in the country. And those 2 best teams fought like crazy that day, Michigan and Ohio State. And they went away and they both got blown out in bowl games because they weren't there. They didn't show up. They were not the same teams they were. Ohio State's layoff was like 48 days at that point. I mean,
right.
Like, what are we talking about here? Not even the same football team. And since that time, it's become this whole other animal of conference alignment and South versus North and like this Civil War and all this stuff. But as an Ohio State fan, here's the truth of the matter. They've had 2 national championships since 1968.
Yeah.
It's not any kind of dynasty. Yeah. And now, even though they won the national championship in 2015, since that time, there's been a ton of heartbreak. I mean, same thing. You pour your life and soul into a season, and your wife and family puts up with you every Saturday of having friends over and cooking out and being in the bar and doing all these things. And it comes to the last moment versus a Clemson team that they beat the hell out of the whole game, and a couple things don't go their way, and it's the last play of the game, and an interception's thrown and the whole room just dies. And like, man, we wanted our shot at Joe Burrow. I mean, that's heartbreak. That's not.
Yeah, it's
you
true.
You want that stuff back instantly. Now, I think Alabama would be more of your question. I ask the question every year. Now think about this from a fan, okay? You're not going to the Super Bowl because of the ticket situation and the financial thing and then flying across the country. I mean, it's
Yeah.
nuts. It's crazy. And you kind of got screwed with that of where it's at, right? I mean,
Yeah.
eight,
If it,
8, 9 years ago, it was in Indianapolis. Last year it was in Miami. Or
yeah.
2 years ago,
Tampa, I think she was in Tampa last
or
year.
Tampa. Yeah. Yeah, you could have drove, or you could have, a quick
Yeah.
flight, and it's just, or maybe people there. I mean, LA is such a whole different animal. So when it gets to these like championships, and it's not this way in the pros because there's so much parity, and it's such a great. I want to get to that point too. Something we both saw on Twitter today about the right recipe for it. But so Alabama fans, when I think about being an Ohio State fan, I went to the Ohio State versus Alabama game in 2014 when they beat them in the Sugar Bowl, and then they went and played Oregon. I didn't go to that game. So I was like, I basically saw the national championship.
Yeah.
The way it felt. That was our chase. That was who we wanted to beat. I'm kind of good. Plus, it cost me a couple $1,000 like out of the blue for the weekend. Alabama fans, how many more years in a row? There's only so many fans of a team. If Ohio State went to the national championship 5 out of 7 years,
yeah,
I'd likely would be at 1. Now, I guess there are, a million alumni or whatever it is. So,
yeah.
But a lot of those people don't give a shit about football. It's incredible that people continue to go. I mean, though that is a situation where I feel like what you're pointing out, like it's got to get old almost to a point.
Yeah, and then the neutral site is also a different vibe, right? I mean, honestly, going to the Super Bowl, I mean, okay, so 30 or 40% are Bengals fans, maybe 30, 40% are Rams, and the rest of them are just people there. I mean, it wouldn't have the same feel as a home game.
Let me tell you something. I'm glad you said that too. I went to the NFC Championship game in 2011 in San Francisco. Check the tapes on this one, but I believe that was the year that the Super Bowl was in Indianapolis. I could be wrong on that.
Who did
the Niners? Kyle Williams fumbled the punt in overtime.
So the Giants Patriots again.
Yeah,
was that the Super Bowl that year?
I don't know if it was the Giants Patriots. Did Eli ever play anybody else in the Super Bowl?
Isn't that who the Niners lost to? The Giants? And
Well, yeah, they lost to the Giants. I just don't remember who they went and played. Probably the
Patriots, because they've only beaten the Patriots in the Super Bowl. Anyway,
okay. So it was almost like laid out to me. I had my choice through our family connections and all that stuff. Do you want to go to the Super Bowl? There you go. Check the tapes on that.
I am.
So Kyle Williams fumbled the punt or whatever, but I remember having the conversation. I said, you know what? It had been so long since the Niners were in the NFC Championship and about to be in the Super Bowl, and I was too young to go when my parents went and everything else. So in 2011, I made the choice and said, I'd rather fly to San Francisco and go see the goddamn game in Candlestick Park amongst the faithful than I would go to the Super Bowl. I literally made that choice to spend the money, and I was comfortable with going to the NFC Championship because the Super Bowl is this corporate feel of, it's a whole different environment. Like you're saying. Well, you'd rather go to the AFC Championship game in the jungle and just watch the Super Bowl at home with your dad.
Absolutely. I really don't have much interest to go to the Super Bowl. I mean,
not
by
if
the
your
way,
team's
check the tapes. You're right. It was at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis.
It was. And by the way, I will also point out that year, check the tapes on this. Everyone was freaking out about Indianapolis and the weather and the north and everything. That year, on February 2nd or 3rd or whenever the Super Bowl was, I think the temperature in Indianapolis that day was 60 degrees and sunny. When I went to my friend's Super Bowl party, we pulled up in the neighborhood and people were washing their cars in Central Ohio, February 2nd or 3rd. By the way, today's February 2nd or 3rd, and there's supposed to be 9 inches of snow tomorrow, and it's 17 degrees. And it was awesome.
I'm trying to get to the weather from February 5th, 2012 in Indianapolis.
This would be great. Come on, you can do it.
Indianapolis weather, February of 12. Okay, what was it?
That would have been
It was 40. It was 48 degrees.
In Indianapolis?
In Indianapolis. It might have been warmer in Columbus. Maybe it was mid-50s.
Well, what I'm thinking is the day before, maybe.
Yeah, it might have been.
Over, like it was warm maybe before, like on Saturday that weekend, but it was a warm ass.
You were living in Columbus, Ohio?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is intriguing stuff. I love it.
Yes, this is important stuff. We're going to check the tapes on.
You have the date of the Super Bowl.
February 5th, 2012. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, this is getting too hard to do. I mean, I don't know.
I don't think you're very smart. Is that even the right date?
February 5th, 2012.
That can't be right.
I don't know how to get to that. Oh, wait, here we go. No, it's not happening for me. So I don't know. I'll let you handle that.
I will.
But let's touch on this issue, which is, okay, so the last time the Bengals were in the Super Bowl, of course, they lost to the 49ers on a soul-crushing, heartbreaking way. Probably one of the most famous endings to the Super Bowls ever. And I was 11 years old. It's that game is seared in my brain.
Yeah.
The Bengals had that game won, and it was ripped out of our hands by Joe Montana. And for 33 years, it's been just weighing on me like an anchor. So I'm having a great time with this team, as we've talked about. I mean, these playoffs could not have gone better. It's so enjoyable. If the Bengals lose, will I be so pissed off and bitter that it cancels out how great I feel right now? I hope it doesn't. I hope I get to keep this feeling bottled up, and that a loss in the Super Bowl, whether it's 50-0 or a field goal at the end, I don't forget this feeling. That's my worry, that I'll be so mad, and that it'll be another 30 years before I go back to another Super Bowl. Of course, I'm going back.
Yeah. There we go. Congratulations.
Yes, thanks.
You are right on the second part about the length of time, or wrong on the second part about the length of time. Again, we never know, but I hope and think that you'll have it again. But bad news for you. You look back on a fun ride, but if you don't win it all, there's nothing you can really. You don't have anything. You can't commemorate things. You can't. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's just not the same as being on top of the mountain and that feeling.
True.
You can't.
I mean, think about the Atlanta Falcons. I mean, they were up 28-3 on the Patriots.
You think all the Atlanta Falcon fans are just elating and remember how great it was to win the NFC Championship and then to be up 28-3 on the Patriots? No, they're sick to their stomachs. And
to your point about to your point, like, next year. By the way, it was on Super Bowl Sunday 2012 in Columbus. It was 47 degrees. Check the tapes, whatever you want to call on that. But
sunny.
It's a beautiful day, as I recall, because I was not in Columbus then.
No,
but anyway, and where were we? We were talking about if think about, okay, next year we're just going to go back again. The Bengals, we have Burrow. We're going to be back in the AFC Championship game. First of all, think about these games. They've won two. All three games came down. Two of the games came down to game-winning kicks, and they had to pick off a guy in the end zone to win the first game. Aaron Rodgers, the great, allegedly one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. He has not played in a Super Bowl in 11 seasons.
I know.
2010. Ben Roethlisberger has not won a Super Bowl, did not win a Super Bowl in the final 13 years of his career, and only played in one more after 2008.
Yeah. I
mean, it's not easy. Brady has eliminated, and to a lesser extent, Peyton Manning have totally, destroyed the expectations for how hard this is.
Yeah.
And so, maybe Burrow will go to 5 Super Bowls, who knows? But Tom Brady, who just retired, won 7, went to 10, I think, or 11. I mean, I don't even remember. And you're like, well, that's normal. It's not normal.
No,
it's not normal at all.
No, you got one shot at this. To a degree.
And I have another 31 years or 33 years in me? I'm 45. This could be it. This could be it.
Oh, this could be it.
If we don't capture it right now, I think that's what I'm worried about. I'm going to have anxiety next week. If we don't do it again, is it another 33 years? Because we had a hell of a quarterback in 88 and it never happened.
The only thing I'll say to that is, at least each year in and year out, the actual belief of they're going to make the playoffs many times and they're going to win a game or two and be right there. So you at least have those emotions of, okay, got through the wild card weekend, maybe if they're not the 1 seed, and we got divisional weekend coming up and I got a whole nother week to plan and we're doing this and that, and that stuff's cool. But yeah, I mean, there's no guarantees of it. And then, I mean, that just sucks.
Final observation, final question maybe for this conversation. Again, football brings us all together, except for you and me, you hate the Bengals.
Yeah.
You're probably rooting against them.
No,
Is it a me thing? What is the angst? Why do you hate and why do you hope that teams lose? I mean, what is the problem there? I think it's a real issue for you. Like, you hope Michigan loses. You hope the Bengals lose. You hate this person. You want other fan bases to feel pain. What is that? Very strange.
Michigan.
Yeah, you love when Michigan's struggling or they suck. I mean,
Now hold on. Michigan's a no-lose situation for me because I am on the side. If I had to choose, I want what happened this year. I want a Michigan good right there, toe to toe. I want 06. I want all these different years where they're both right there. And that game means the winner goes on to greatness. That's my choice. A lot of Buckeye fans want Michigan to win 0 games for the next 30 years and no one ever hears of them. I think that eliminates it and ruins all the fun and everything else.
Yes.
We got our ass kicked in Ann Arbor this year. That's what makes it great in 300 days when we go back or when they come here. That's what makes it so great. You can't replicate those feelings. You can't fake them. You can't manufacture them. That's what makes it so great about sports and that feeling. So I'm on that side. Now, if I'm watching Michigan and Penn State and they lose, I also get to laugh and be like, yeah, fucking great. The Bengals thing, yeah, it's a lot to do with you. No question.
Why can't you be happy? Since I've contributed so much to this, why can't you be happy for me?
I'm happy for you at this moment. Now, the wild card to keep it going, to lose in disaster fashion again, I would have just loved so much. You gotta understand, man. I live in Central Ohio. It is split between Bengals and Browns fans. And when I came to college down in Columbus, I had to make a decision almost. And I'm like, all right, I'm from the Northeast Ohio. I'm going to side with because I like the Indians. I was always the Indians, right? Through high school.
I get it.
I always loved the Indians, but I was never a Browns fan, but I had to choose. So what's sick about my fanhood towards the Browns is I didn't start liking them until they came back and starting with the 2000 season and everything. So I've actually seen nothing good from the Browns in 20 years, although I've rooted for them, watch them. And through that time, it's made me hate the Bengals more. And then on top of that, my job that brought me back to Columbus, huge conglomerate of all Bengals fans. I mean, I sent you the text the other day, right before the Niners game, the text I'm getting, like these memes and stuff about, I don't know what the one was. Someone's wiping their ass and it's a 49. I don't even know. But it's just constant from these Bengal fans and everything. And I just can't wait to give them a dig or say something.
Even though they're playing the LA Rams, who probably the Niners.
No, I said at those moments. Now, I had 2 Bengals fans in my bar watching the game Sunday, and I was high-fiving them. They were high-fiving me. I was rooting for them wholeheartedly, and I'll be rooting for them in the Super Bowl. Now, good. I'll also be sitting there. The only consolation of it, if the Rams win, I'm a fan of Matt Stafford to a degree that's a classy dude who's put up with a lot of bullshit, who's worked his tail off, who has his shot. So
yeah, it's 2 likable teams.
Not likable teams. I hate the fucking Rams. I hate McVay. I hate OBJ. Yeah. I hate Aaron Donald. That's a rivalry for the Niners in that division. Again, it's a consolation. I'll say, all right, Matt Stafford, hats off. But no, I'm wholehearted. I'm all in on the Bengals, man.
Good.
Who day, baby.
It's good for us. It's
bringing us together. Like we said, it's uniting the country. It's uniting us.
It's invigorating our great state of Ohio, our birthplace.
Let me tell you, man.
It's something that the entire state can really be proud of. You put a Lombardi trophy.
It's not
either in Cincinnati or Cleveland.
I can't disagree with you more there.
Yeah.
And,
oh, really?
Yeah. In college, I feel like when Ohio State wins, it touches every corner. Outside of Cincinnati, unless people from Cincinnati are living in Central Ohio or other places, most Browns fans, and then you have a huge, Steelers are everywhere, but especially in Northeast Ohio, right? It's right on the border of PA. There's a ton of steel mill, old Steeler fans there. They hate Cincinnati. So it doesn't unite the state at all.
Well, maybe it will. We'll find out.
It's good for the state's economy. It's good for a nice story.
Yes, that's what I meant. Yeah.
I'm also bitter about Joe Burrow. I've told you that from the get-go. People are like, why do you hate Joe Burrow? I'm like, well, it's not so much I hate him as a human. I hate the fucking Bengals, and he plays for them, so that's where it starts. I mean,
you could have a Burrow jersey behind your right shoulder instead of an Eddie George jersey, Ohio State, but somebody had other ideas.
Yeah, it's all his fault. Joe Burrow threw for 6. Check the tapes on this. Joe Burrow in his state championship game, his bleached blonde hair, threw for 623 yards and 6 touchdowns. Check the stats on that. See if I'm right. That'd be crazy if I am.
His high school team has the state record for points scored in a season. It's like, I don't know, it's average of 60 a game for an entire season.
He was my Central Ohio kid coming to Columbus, saved the world. Quarterback, this is going to be the greatest, and it never panned out. So I'm very bitter about it. What are you gonna do?
Anyway, hopefully we, as we said, this is a unifying moment in a lot of ways for a lot of different reasons. But football has, coming through COVID is the one thing that's brought the country together. It's great to see, and it all culminates on Super Bowl Sunday with number 9 hopefully hoisting it.
I'm going to tell you something else.
And a party on a parade in downtown Cincinnati, Fountain Square, will be rocking and rolling. Oh, it's going to be great.
I tell you this too. The Super Bowl, when your team's in it, is a completely different experience. It's not the Super Bowl. It takes away from the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl,
just a game.
No, when you're watching the Super Bowl, it's just a game. And you have friends over, you go to a Super Bowl party and you're eating, and it's the commercials. When your team's in it and you're waiting to get to that hump so you could have that moment, it's not the Super Bowl. It is a wild card weekend division game when you're watching on TV. And it kind of sucks unless you win, and then it's the greatest thing ever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because think about if you were watching the Niners versus Buffalo. You're just gonna lay back, nice, full belly, nice glass of wine. You're gonna watch the best quarterback in the NFL, in my opinion, in Buffalo, go at it and watch one of the great organizations of all time fight it on the field and relax. You will not be relaxed. You will not enjoy it.
Oh, it's terrible.
Yeah, it's terrible unless you hoist it. It's terrible. Misery. You're going to be in misery the entire day and evening.
Oh God.
But it's worth it if it all happens. We should do something else on the podcast, or at least Twitter. Maybe I'll do like just live Twitter feed during the game. See if you can.
That's a great idea.
Capture some of your emotions. I don't know. We'll see. Stay tuned on that.
Yes. Any emotional support you can lend, I'm in favor of.
So football saves America. That's where we're at, right?
That's right. It has saved America, and it's going to save me on Super Bowl Sunday. So
incredible.
I appreciate your support, Jeff, and I'm going to try to bring this title home for everybody.
I'm telling you.
You can congratulate me after it's all over.
Wait till you see what arrives at your house if you win this thing.
Oh, jeez.
I mean, I'm gonna say, congratulations isn't even the beginning.
You can be it would say congratulations, all the words spelled out in my front yard.
At least it's just again, it's just the start. You're going to Disneyland, babe.
Oh, I love it. I'm going to Kings Island.
Kings Island.
All right, brother. Go back. Who they think they're gonna beat them Bengals?
Dear God. Have fun, buddy. Enjoy it. Football saves all.
Yes, sir.